Hi, I'm Michael's mom.
And I'm Michael.
Today we're going to show you how to cook something that's been a help to us in our journey.
I do more than walk around the office. I can also cook occasionally.
So Michael's had a lot of dietary restrictions in the last 8
years.
A lot of years. So what are some of the things you missed the most in the last 8 years, especially at the beginning?
Well, you know, the classics: pizza, tacos, maybe even like a breakfast burrito or something like that.
There just wasn't a lot of flexibility.
No.
So now that you're able to eat almonds and eggs, we've come up with a recipe to make some flatbreads that are super versatile. So like, what are some ways you like to use these flatbreads?
I mean, you can use them for like little mini personal pizza things. You can use them for, put some eggs and stuff in them and you have your breakfast burrito. You could even do tacos if you want. You could turn it into whatever you want it to be.
It's just a vessel to hold whatever you want.
It's a low carb vessel that makes it feel like you're eating a lot of carbs. It's great.
Alright, so let's get started.
Alright, so your main base is gonna be eggs. You got 2 eggs, a cup of water, some oil. We like to use avocado oil, almond flour, and then a little bit of tapioca and cassava flour, and then baking powder.
If you're not familiar with those flours, the cassava we use quite a bit. It is not particularly low carb, but it's a root flour. It's made from, yucca root, I think. And you can buy that in bulk online, or if you're not sure if you're gonna like it, you can get a smaller quantity like at Kroger. And then tapioca flour is also called tapioca starch, and you have to have that to kind of hold everything together. So that's why these don't crumble. We've tried so many recipes where you fold it up and it just falls apart. All right, so we're gonna let Michael get started on this, adding our ingredients, and it's super easy. You just dump everything in a bowl and stir it up.
All right, I'm gonna start. Go ahead and put the oil in there. Use avocado. All of it really doesn't matter that much, whatever you like the best. 1/4 cup of oil. I'm going ahead and gonna crack my eggs in here.
Especially when you're using fresh eggs, farm eggs, you know, crack them in something separate before you dump them in here.
1/4 cup is not big enough. That's what.
Cup of water.
All right, so we got the egg, water, oil. We're gonna start putting in the dry ingredients. 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 3/4 a cup of almond flour. We're gonna do 1/3 a cup of both cassava and tapioca.
All right, everything's in there.
Just stir it up.
Yeah.
All right.
This recipe doesn't call for it, but I actually like to add a little bit of salt to it. But if you need it to be low sodium or whatever, it doesn't even call for salt. I just think the salt makes everything a little bit better. All right, so how's it look? It should look kind of like a crepe batter. I don't know if you've made crepes before, but
It's smooth.
very thin. Lift your spoon up, kind of let it like drip down a little bit. See, it's very thin, and we're gonna cook them in the style of crepes.
Are we gonna move on to that?
Sure.
Let's do it.
All right, so we're gonna make the pan very, very warm before we put anything in it. So just let the pan heat up. I don't know. Once it's hot, you can turn it back down to medium or so. Got anything you want to say along the way?
We're booked out until December, so if you want to schedule an appointment, go right ahead.
Better get in.
Because otherwise, you're not getting in.
Okay, so our pan is hot, so you want to put in just enough. You want to put it in the middle and kind of take the pan and move it around so that it just covers the bottom of the pan a little bit. You don't want them very thick. If you've done crepes before, literally it's the same technique as crepes. So you're gonna cook it till it's dry on the top. I'm gonna flip it over for just a second. And then I just stack them in between pieces of wax paper or parchment paper while they cool. So once it's dry, it should be easy to turn over. If you try to flip it over too soon, it won't work. Okay, so it's been turned over just a few seconds on the other side. See how easy that is? It should be like that. You just set it there to cool and go on to the next one. You don't need to, I think I said this before, you don't need to grease the pan or anything. You just want it to be nice and hot. That's one thing you cannot walk away from. You have to keep with it. This is our air fryer basket, and he'll set his flatbread right on there to make your pizza with. Look at that.
That's good.
These are great frozen. You can freeze them, pull them out one at a time, which is nice, especially if you're the only one eating them and you don't need 12 flatbreads in a week. You can just pop them in the freezer and pull them out one at a time. They're just as good. See, look, you know it's ready to flip when you can go like this and it moves around. did make 12 total flatbreads with that recipe.
Should last you at least a week.
Or a day if you're like